Well, hello, faithful followers of Speaking of Zane. Welcome to May the 23rd, the 145th session of Speaking of Zane. Believe it or not, 145. Got a good crowd assembling. Let's see who we've got here. Steve Shirley, what's up, S2? Ken Pesic, Toby, my cousin. Lori's in there. Daryl's in there. Daryl made it home from church in time. Hey, Daryl. My Aunt Cindy over in Alabama. Hey, Aunt Cindy. My old buddy Coof down in Valdosta. Why do I always get that wrong, Coof? I know you're in the Valdosta area, but I keep forgetting the exact town you're in. There's my friend Amy up in, I know where Amy's at. Amy's in Buccaneer Bay. They're near Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Hey Hira, that's right. Why can't I remember Hey Hira? Everybody should remember Hey Hira. But good to have you in there, Coof. And good to have everybody in there. Got a good crowd coming along. My cousin Toby there lives in, where you at, Toby? Osceola? I think Toby's in Osceola there, Coof. All right. Well, Lori and I were down there, Coof, a couple weekends ago. We went down and visited with my mom, spent the day there with my mom and dad and my sister, and had a good old time. Got to see all my siblings, actually, all my siblings. One lives in Fitzgerald, one lives in Tifton, one lives in Valdosta. But good stuff. All right, well, let's see what we got here. I was kind of waiting for him to join here, my old buddy Dan Jeffers. It's his birthday. Well, if he joins, we'll all wish him a happy birthday. But it's either today or yesterday was Dano's birthday. So if you see Dan, tell him happy B-Day. All right, and let's see. Daryl is in there. Daryl, wanted to wish Daryl condolences on the loss of a pet. He lost his pet beagle, Pumpkin. And I know he had Pumpkin for 9 or 10 years, and I know pets become part of the family, and they have a soul. And best wishes to you there, Daryl, as you mourn the loss of Pumpkin. And let's see, some news. We've got some news. This is the week leading into Memorial Day, so a lot of activities going on leading into Memorial Day. Now, this crowd right here is a crowd that's likely to be involved in activities and events that really center around the meaning of Memorial Day. Of course, there'll be a lot of people that are just happy to get Monday off and have a barbecue and drink beer by the pool and all that stuff. But we know what the meaning is, and although we do those things, we celebrate the coming of summer. We celebrate the moving out of the winter into the summer months and school ending and all that. And that's okay. It's all part of the American tradition. It's all part of the American life, all part of the American way. But we are able to do those things certainly because of the price that was paid by those who gave and paid the ultimate price. And as long as you remember that as the foundation to your Memorial Day, you can have a blast on Memorial Day. Just remember that freedom is not free, and this country thrives on the backs of those who paid the ultimate price. So we have a lot of activities coming up. I say that because I'm going to tell you about some. There's Matt Aaron up in Michigan. Hey, Matt. Good to have you in there. Coof says, home of the free because of the brave. Amen, brother. I tell you, a lot of Americans gave all for this country, and that's what it's all about. Well, let's see. Speaking of Memorial Day, I have outstanding news to report, and we thought this might be the case on the heels of Amy's report last week about learning that and then sharing with us that Omaha National Cemetery will indeed have the mass flag placements there. And we found out, I guess on Tuesday or Wednesday, that Georgia National will, which is music to our ears. It's only been since Zane passed that we really paid a lot of attention to it, unfortunately. but it has become sort of something that we look forward to participating in, and an opportunity to raise awareness and to honor those that rest in our cemeteries. Georgia National will be. So what that means is Lori will not have to do Operation. What did we call it? What did we call it last year, Lori? Gosh, it's been a year. I can't remember what we gave it a name, but in a week's time, almost exactly a week, Lori was able to. Once we found out they weren't going to have flag placement, she rallied and in a week's time was able to raise um, flags, funds, volunteers, enough for us to place over 3,000 flags at Georgia National Cemetery. It was just an amazing event. Operation Freedom Flag, I think that's what we called it. Well, Lori was kind of relieved that she didn't have to execute on that again, although I'm sure she would have if she had to. But it looks like that she will not have to. And we honestly did. We were ready to go to jail. Lori's put that in the chat. Lori put that in the chat there. But we thought we might, because tensions were so high at that point, if you remember, and people were starting to pick sides, and it was just getting ugly. And you know, we felt strongly enough that it was something we were willing to get hauled away for. And fortunately, it didn't go down that way, but it certainly could have, and it would have been an even better story, I guess. But yeah, the police were there when we got there, and I've told the story before, but once I pulled up at the main administrative building there, the last police officer left. There was no, when people started arriving, the general public, all the Veterans Administration people, all the cemetery people, and the police officers left. There were none there. So the entire operation, they turned their eye on it, and we were able to place flags unabated, and had a wonderful time with a bunch of our friends and coworkers, and a bunch of folks in our neighborhood that we didn't even know that came out. Maybe 30 or 40 people total, and it made pretty quick work of 3,000 flags. But this year we won't have to. I don't know how they're doing it in Omaha, Amy, but here in Georgia, they're doing it on 2 days this year. So they're gonna, because they didn't get the word from the National Cemetery Administration until last week, they didn't have the normal runway to assemble the groups that they normally have. So I'm sure a lot of people weren't prepared. So now down to just a couple of weeks, and so what they're going to do is they're going to do it over 2 days. They're going to do Friday and Saturday, and they're going to. There's no COVID things or anything going on, but they're going to issue the flags, and they want everybody that wants the opportunity to place flags to have the opportunity. And since they're doing it across 2 days, they're not going to allow for all of them to be placed on Friday, which is great, because that means that the folks that go on Saturday will be able to place flags, and they're going to give people bundles of 50, and that's how they're going to manage it. So that's better than not doing it all, for sure. Yeah, the last police officer that left, Lori had assembled our groups of volunteers to pick up the flags outside the gate in a big open space where you can park, and it was very clear there was something going on there. But it was something I'll never ever forget, and it was an amazing thing. Let me take that down. Okay, let's see. What else do we? So we'll be doing that. Saturday morning. Some people will be out there on Friday. Um, and that'll be good. And then I'm thinking we're going to do it Saturday morning, and then probably go from there up to participate in another Memorial Day related event activity. There's an air show at the Rome, Georgia airport. It's actually Friday, Saturday, Sunday with an old B-17 and some other warbirds. So probably go from, probably be a long day for us Saturday from the cemetery up to Rome, Georgia for the air show. So I'll report on that next week. All right, let's see what else we got. Well, speaking of Georgia National Cemetery, what a wonderful time we had at the, you saw me post this. If you didn't, go back and look at Speaking of Zane, but there was an outfit that's been doing a relay across the country. There's been 4 different groups, a East Coast, a Midwest, a Mountain States, and a Western. And they've been volunteers that have been going from cemetery to cemetery to cemetery to location all across the country, and paying honor to those that we have lost in service to the country, whether in the military or in first responder. And Lori and I went out there. It happened to be May 19th, which was Wednesday for us at Georgia National Cemetery. Lori and I went out there, really not knowing what to expect. She asked me, "Are we going to be walking?" I said, "I don't think so." We walked. It's about a mile and a half around the circuit. Lori wasn't prepared. I messed up on that one, but she did it. We all did it, and we had a great time. And we met some awesome people there. It wasn't a huge crowd, and the folks participating were in a big bus. You probably saw my pictures, and but we very quickly got to meet them all. Brandon, Doc, who was their medic, Army vet, and Drew, who Lori got to spend some time with, Marine Corps vet, and currently in the Air National Guard, a firefighter or paramedic. And then I spent some time with a guy called Ed, who's been a Dallas police officer for about 30 years. Phenomenal stories, all of them. And we ended up, they asked us, anybody have anybody here who you want to dedicate? So they dedicated their walk to Zane once they found out about Zane. And we didn't expect any of this. We didn't know what we were really going to be doing. But we walked with them, and it was all about Zane. And when we got to Zane section 11, which is fairly early in the walk, everybody pulled to the side, and we paid respects to Zane, and it was touching. I mean, it was an awesome. Those guys were genuine. I tell you, regular people like us, and they were committed. You could tell they were committed. I've been following them on their Facebook page, and everywhere they go, they're doing similar things, and they're just. It's just an incredible thing, raising awareness and funds, and they have a great organization that helps families of the fallen. And one really cool story that came out of it, and this is such a small world. You probably saw me post it, but I'll tell you anyway. I got to talking to Ed, the Dallas police officer, and he has a tremendous story himself. And I'm not going to tell the whole thing right now because I've asked him. He said, "Can we stay in touch?" I said, "Yeah." We've since exchanged emails, and I've asked him if he would be a guest on Speaking of Zane and tell us about carry the load, and more importantly, tell us about his story of overcoming adversity, which you're just going to be amazed about. Anyway, we got to talking, and I said, "Oh, you're from Dallas." I said, one of the guys I served with, Greg Sold, his son was the officer recently killed there in Dallas. He says, "Oh, you mean Mitchell Penton?" I said, "Yeah, Mitchell." He said, "That's who I'm running for." And he pulled out the race bib. They all wear these race bibs, and who they're running for, they put their name across, and it was Mitchell Penton for Ed. And I'm like, wow, what a small world. And I couldn't wait to get home and tell Greg, and I sent him a picture, and it's Greg's son-in-law who was killed just a couple of months ago. I guess it's been now. Has a wife, a little boy, and a baby on the way. But you guys know, I've said it over and over again, I don't believe in coincidences, and that was certainly a divine meeting there, and hope to stay in touch with Ed and maybe have him on as a guest. You'll just be amazed at his story. But all those guys were great. It was so awesome. We were out there for just a couple hours or so, but just an incredible experience. That's why, never give up the chance to go do something, go somewhere. Don't just say, I'm going to stay home, I'm lazy. Go, because you don't know what you're going to get into. And I'm so glad we met those guys, and it was just an honor to be part of that. And then just a few days later, Daryl goes ahead and does the same thing at Jefferson Barracks with the Midwest team. And Daryl posted some nice pictures there. And Daryl walked. What'd you walk, Daryl? About a mile and a half, right? And you're a 75-year-old man. You're no whippersnapper. and but Daryl, that was so good to see you out there with them. And I'm sure you had a great time with that. And just an outstanding organization that it turns out they are. They left here, went to Chattanooga, then over to Nashville, down to Huntsville, and then they're going up to Memphis, and then they'll finish. This group will finish like all the other groups will in Dallas on Memorial Day for a big ceremony and everything that they're going to have there. But every they have 4 buses, and they're all painted, with everything. You go to the Facebook group and you'll see it. There's my Aunt Paula, who I love, down in Tampa. Hey, Aunt Paula. I didn't mention, I don't know if I mentioned, but when Lori was down in Tampa, Lori and Aunt Paula got together for some lunch. And that's the first time I think that Lori has ever met Paula. But I know they had a good time. Let's see, who else am I missing? Yeah, 22 Kill, that's another one. A lot of good organizations. You don't have to look far to be involved in some kind of organization that at a minimum raises awareness. So that was our story for Carry the Load this week. It was awesome. Let's see, other Memorial Day related activities. By the way, if you folks have any Memorial Day related activities coming up, you want to share them, put them in the chat there. And we'll do that. I don't know why my name isn't showing up. You all know who I am. Usually my name shows up there. Oh, I know why, because I don't have the crawler up there. But anyway, so more activities coming up this week. Down in Savannah, you remember we had my friend Jane on a little while back, and she told us about Flags for the Fallen. And this will be the first time they've been able to do this at the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force down near Savannah. And this week they're going to be placing. If you've never been there, go to their website and you'll see what a beautiful place it is. And out back, where they have a lot of monuments and a replica of a British church and all kind of stuff, they're going to place 26,000 flags out there. They're the 48 star flags. So we had 48 states back then, if you remember. We didn't have Hawaii and Alaska. They're going to place 26,000 48 star flags on the grounds of the museum, one flag for each airman in the 8th Air Force that we lost in the air war over Europe during World War II. So what a wonderful thing. And they're going to start placing flags on Tuesday. I think they'll tidy things up on Wednesday, and then there's a big opening ceremony for the public on Thursday. And then from Thursday through Memorial Day, the flags will be in place. People can come and see them. And what I found out just a day or so ago is on Thursday morning, there's a sort of an opening ceremony for the flags. And at 10 a.m., there's going to be a B-52 bomber flyover of the museum, a B-52 from Barksdale Air Force Base, which is the current home of the 8th Air Force. So I'm toying around with my plans for the week, and originally Lori and I were going to go down there. She can't go, and now I might go Tuesday to help place flags, but now I'm thinking about going Thursday to see the opening and the flyover. But I'm hosting a company-wide Memorial Day thing on Thursday at noon, so I would have to do it down there. I just haven't quite decided yet. I better decide pretty quick because I either have to leave tomorrow night or early Tuesday morning, or not leave then and go Thursday. I don't know yet. But anyway, a lot of activities like that going on. I mentioned the air show in Rome. Um, Also, in our little town here of Ackworth, they've got a Memorial Day ceremony on Saturday. We'll have to miss that if we're at Georgia National, but I did find out about that. Let's see, Lori says, I'm reading the chat here. Let me throw that up. Okay, well maybe there's somebody that keeps track of these things, and if there's been a decline, that's a great thing. There's my friend Dan Scott down near, gosh, Dan, I always forget exactly where you're at. Dan lives down on the coast near Savannah, south of Savannah. I always want to say Little Wissy, but I know he's north of Little Wissy. He's east of Reedsville, not quite in Hinesville, Glenville maybe. Anyway, no, he's not in Glenville. Where are you at, Dan? Go ahead and pipe in there. Dan is a good friend of mine. We developed a relationship over the years. Glenville, I got it right, as radio operators, amateur radio operators, and dancing all around. Great guy, and we enjoy hanging out together and doing things. Dan also happens to be a 3rd Infantry Division Iraqi Freedom Combat veteran, retired Army. And Dan actually, I posted it on Speaking of Zane Facebook group. Dan did a nice little report from Dan. Where were you? Were you in Glenville or Reedsville? I don't remember, or Jessup. I don't remember exactly where you're at, but they had the Mission 22 had a walk there. That's why I mentioned Mission 22, but they do great work too, and they had a walk there in town, and Dan reported on it. And Dan, good to have you in there, man. I miss you. Jessup, okay. But always good to stay in touch with good guys like Dan. It sure is. All right, so let's see. I've got Memorial Day activities. Speaking of air shows, you may have seen me post, if you follow me on Facebook, you may have seen me post that our son Jackson, who you know is going through his pilot training, did another solo yesterday, but it was more than just soloing in the circuit at the airport. The task was to go fly somewhere for an hour and come back to the airport. And he did that, and he put our neighborhood in as a waypoint. And normally they fly near here anyway on their way up to Cartersville. But so he flew over the neighborhood. His first pass, when he was going out, I could see him just above the tree line. He was more out over the golf course. But then he made a little loop to do, and he came back and passed, not right over the house, but took a little video. You could see him pass by there. And Lori gets scared. And I watch him on I've got a receiver that can receive his data from his airplane, and what's called ADSB, and so I can watch it on the computer, and I can tell how fast he's going, how high he is, and all of that. But yeah, he was doing stalls and stuff, and anyway, congratulations to Jack, and just continues to make progress there. There's Brenda Lusk. Hey, Brenda, up in Michigan. But let's see if I got everything in the opening there. A lot of good Memorial Day activities coming up. And because of the, well, let me come back to the hat of the week. I'll come back to the hat of the week. Let me go to This Week in Military History, and it will become apparent here in a minute. So this week in American history, or military history, I only pulled a couple of items that just came to me. I didn't have a lot of chance today to go digging for stuff. But on May 17th, 1943, speaking of B-17 bombers, how's that for a theme? The B-17, known as Memphis Bell, everybody's familiar with the Memphis Bell. The Memphis Bell completed its 25th combat mission. It was on May 17th, 1943, and then that crew came back to the States and went on a kind of a whirlwind tour, promoting war bonds and, really a morale sort of boosting tour. And everybody's seen the movie and all that from the early 90s. Well, that turns out that the Memphis Bell, the actual aircraft, went into disrepair over the years and was stored somewhere for a long time. And finally, over the last few years, the Air Force Museum up at Wright-Patterson has restored it. And I got a chance to see it last December. No, was it last December? No, the December before last. December of 2019, I flew up to the museum again for my second trip up there, and got to see the Memphis Bell live and in person there on static display. So I have an affinity for B-17 bombers. I always have since I was a kid. Never would have imagined all these years later I would have spent the last 10 years involved in the restoration of one. How about that? It's crazy stuff. Um, on a more somber note, on May the 23rd, today, May the 23rd, today, in 2007, we lost two soldiers from Zane's unit. On May 23rd, 2007, Staff Sergeant Stephen Butcher and Sergeant Daniel Cagle, and they were both killed in Ramadi. And well, hang on a second. Let me grab something real quick. And even though Zane wasn't in the unit yet, the unit deployed again in 2009. Now, if you remember, during that period of time, a combat BCT, brigade combat team, would deploy to Iraq or to Afghanistan for a year. They would come home, they would have dwell time for a year, then they would go right back again. That was on a rotation like that for 5, 6, 7, 8 years running. In 2009, when Zane was part of the unit, and so Zane used to wear this killed in action wristband with Butcher and Cagle's name on it. I know you can't see that. This one's for Cagle, Daniel Cagle. But so Zane used to wear this, and so I wear it every now and then. It just depends on the occasion, but I keep it up with my challenge coins and stuff. But 2007, so that was 2007. So what, 2000? Yeah, so 14 years ago, right? And I saw a lot of tributes today, as you do every May 23rd, by those who served with Butcher and Cagle. So in honor of Butcher and Cagle, the 3rd Infantry Division is the hat of the week. Hat of the week. And now, in honor of Butcher and Cagle, we'll have a moment of silence. Okay, hat of the week. Good to have you in here, of course. And Lori says he wore it in Iraq. Yeah, he did. You could see it on his wrist. there in some of the pictures that we have. Um, but we'll talk more about Memorial Day Sunday night, and we'll acknowledge some of those, perhaps that Steve and Amy and Jim and I served with on next Sunday night. And be prepared next Sunday night um, to um, with that we lost in service to the country. Okay, I keep Lori and we have been having some terrible internet issues here, and I've opened up a case with Comcast, but I cannot narrow the issue. But if you lose me, I'm going to come back. Just stick with it. If we get disconnected for some reason, which sucks because I make a living across the internet these days with no travel, and to have this internet be so poor over the last week is just crazy. But hopefully it sticks with us tonight to get through. Speaking of Zane, all right. So that's the hat of the week. All right, Veteran Cemetery Challenge. Well, these are the ones I know of. Daryl, I mentioned, did the Carry the Load at Jefferson Barracks. Lori and I both did it at Georgia National Cemetery. So that gives us 3 cemetery visits for the week, puts our count at 414 visits to 132 different veteran cemeteries. And appreciate all you guys playing along with us. It's so great to see a report from somebody that is visiting a veteran cemetery and posting pictures and whatnot. And on to the Thank a Vet Challenge. We had 3 that I know of this week. Now, you all surprise me sometimes at the last minute and throw some in the chat window there, but I've got 3 that I'm aware of. I thanked an Army vet at work called Daniel. Didn't even know he was a vet. We got a chance to talk, and see, my screen keeps, I don't know if you guys see me going away every now and then, but anyway, I've got a young man that I was mentoring who it was an Army vet, 11B, in fact, infantry guy, with, but got a chance to spend some time with him. And then Ken thanked a Navy vet at the golf course, had a great outlook. You can go to the Facebook page and look. You see me, and if my audio is also affected, just so I'll know what I'm dealing with. But Ken met this Navy guy at the golf course, and they had a bit any better, and just you got to have fun with it, and it just shows what a great attitude some people can have. Yeah, that's true, Lori. I didn't add those in there. So with Drew and Doc, that's another 2 that we can add. Um, and Daryl was the recipient of some. So I'm going to add 3 more. That'll make our count for the week 6. Lori, I'm glad you were there because I guess I just kind of took it for granted with those guys. But yeah, Army, and to 811 total. So 811 times somebody from this group has told a veteran or service member or law enforcement officer, thank you. And that's a good thing in my book. Somebody put with here because my video keeps going, and I'm about to wrap it up, probably in record time here. We had a lot to cover, but I'm getting through it quick because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my internet connection. But appreciate everybody being there. Organization section, you just heard us talk about a bunch of organizations. If you guys ever know of an organization you want to share with anybody, you've done so with us in the past, Running to Honor up in Michigan and others. Don't be bashful in letting everybody know. But now we know about Carry the Load. We know about Mission 22. Of course, Running to Honor I mentioned. Reach Across America. Just so many organizations you can be a part of or contribute to, or, it doesn't take much just to do something. And fortunately, I didn't see that we lost any heroes this week. We may have, but I didn't see any of the notices or anything um, this week, which is a good thing. I would be happy if we didn't have to report any losses this week, or any week, actually. All right, well, let's see. I think that's about it. I'm going to watch the comments here for a minute and see if anybody else has anything to report before we shut it down and get ready for the week. Like I said, I'm undecided about exactly what my week's going to look like. Um, but I'll tell you what all I decided when we get back together next Sunday, and hopefully we'll have some good pictures of the different outings and activities that we're involved in, and so will you. And you can share those with us. If anybody ever wants to jump on here as a guest, let me know. I can pull you right in, and I would love to hear from other folks. In fact, I may purposefully pick out a few of you to jump in here with me as well, because I want to hear from you, and I know you got a lot of good things to tell, and some of you are bashful. But don't forget that we talk about serving in these different organizations. This quote from Gary Sinise in his book is just something I told somebody at work. This quote this week, and I can't remember the context, but Gary said, "Service is a great healer. If you have a broken heart, help somebody else. Your whole life will be different." And it's so true. And we can all do something. But make sure you are having a positive influence on your sphere of influence. The people around you, are you giving or are you taking? Be a giver, not a taker. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody next Sunday night for Speaking of Zane. And then hopefully everybody will have next Monday off to reflect on Memorial Day and get the summer kicked off. But I'll look forward to talking to everybody on Sunday night and comparing notes on what I hope will be a great week for everyone. Have a great week. Talk to you on Sunday.